Gentlemen, amazing. Today is a nice day. The sun is out, the weather is hot, the pool is filling, and we've got Kerbal Space Program version 0.24, the much awaited version that actually adds money, funds, research, consequences to actions, and all that terrible stuff that no one really likes in the real world, but that make games fun and seem real. Today we're doing nothing much else than the much awaited version. Boom, turning off, muting my own sound in the playback, of course. Today we're doing nothing else than basically just exploring that version and generating ideas for new series, because I feel KSP Contracting and KSP to Mars have have run its course a bit. I'm looking for something new. I'm thinking in the direction of a real solar system, more realism focused career series, obviously exploiting the new versions of 0.24. And getting a somewhat more logical progression going. But, well, it's too premature to say, really. For now, we're just going to muck around with the new version. I haven't installed any mods. I haven't even checked if any have been updated in the... I think it's about 12 hours the update has been released now. I will also make a What is Kerbal Space Program YouTube video. It will be short. It will be mostly aimed at new players that don't know the game, but it will also cover 0.24. Today here on the live stream, or if you're watching in the archives, whenever you happen to be watching that, we will be exploring the new update in a little bit more drawn out fashion. So here we have the splash screen. Let's start the game and basically treat it as we would a new game. So we're going to start afresh. New beginnings, poetic, cheesy, and new beggings. Yes, we'll keep that typo. I meant to type new beginnings, but I made it new beggings. Sounds good. Immediately we see more functions here. Sandbox is the game mode where everything is still available. Hey, and that's Bristow in chat real quick on that stream. Good morning there. We're just exploring 0.24 today and naming the game New Beggings instead of New Beginnings. We see here three options: Sandbox, Science, and Career. Science is basically what the game was, what Career was before this update. Career is now with Fun, so let's go have a look at that. And immediately apparent is the new stuff here. We have, I think these are funds. The star would be reputation, and this atom thing looks like a science icon. This, I'm liking the look of this, definitely. And in case you didn't quite catch the first 30 seconds of the stream, and who can fault anyone for not being that quick, I'm also interested in exploring new ideas for a series, because the KSP Contracting and the KSP to Mars thing, well, I think I'm gonna do something new around 0.24, looking for some interesting mods, some realism stuff, and then take it away with the contracts, something like that. For now though, let's have a look at the science building here. We start today with the command pod, the engine, the fuel, the tank, well, basically, I think this is the same in the previous versions. Now our goal here is to get 5 science. Ooh, and look at that, we need funds as well to purchase these things. That's nice. This is a new building, right, mission control. These are our contracts, I think. So we get the contract to launch a new vessel. The chief bookkeeper from the Kerbal World First Record Keeping Society felt positive on the fence about whether it was really hard for us to tell if we didn't. I think the goal of this sentence is to yeah, Bristow in chat saying we need KSP multiplayer space race. I think that's an initiative he is doing, and yeah, I'm very much interested in joining that. So if you need more guys, yeah, I'm your man. But for now, let's see if we can figure out this sentence, because it's really hard. Granted, the OK frequency at which we'd find ourselves dumpster diving was how we got into that situation in the first place. In any case, as you can imagine, we now need your help. We want you to launch a vessel to officially start off the space program. Prestige, trivial, objectives, launch a vessel. Right. So, they will pay us $1,835 to launch a vessel, give us rewards for doing it, and taking away money if we fail. So if we click accept the contract and not do anything, then we fail, but we also don't play the game. So there's really not a they really don't Well, by not playing the game, I would fail. Also, Bristow is saying in chat that the text here is procedurally generated. That's why it doesn't make any sense. So that's, yeah, that makes sense really. Cool. 5,000 meter altitude record. Escape the atmosphere. Orbit Kerbin. So basically we're looking at launch, altitude, and escape the atmosphere. Let's take it easy and take the... I think we could probably do all of them at once, but let's basically be a little bit conservative and go for a 5-kilometer hop for our first contract, which incidentally is also the text of this update. Right, so now it gave us money. Funds for accepting the contracts. Oh, that's interesting. So you can accept multiple contracts to get the advances together to build a rocket that you might not have been able to afford on just one contract. Nice. So let's have a look at... Oh man, we now have to worry about cost. That's good. So 600 credits for this command pod. Here it says what we're gonna spend. Right, we don't have any decouplers yet. Right, so 422 for the parachute. That's dear, but then you know we can come back down. That's good. 5 kilometers really isn't all that high. How much for the fuel booster? It's 325. The fuel booster, the solid booster, 325. This is 4 something, and this engine is fairly expensive. So I think it would be most cost effective to get some boosters together. Of course, mission failure is not cost effective at all, so we are going to put 3 boosters, but that is still cheaper than a 3 boosters is 975. Yeah, that's still cheaper than a liquid fuel assembly. I feel that this is getting a little bit cluttered with the buttons, but maybe that's just me that's not used to it. So we'll have 2 boosters firing, then the 1, and then the parachute for descent. We'll appropriately title this ship the first contract. Al is saying in chat, be aware some of the contracts are sneaky. You have to activate an engine at a certain altitude while doing a certain speed. It can be tricky to get it right sometimes. I had to launch about 5 times yesterday to get one. Oh, that's actually quite nice. At least if it's decently explained in the text. And he's also saying we only need 1 booster. That's probably right. Over-engineering things here, but this ship is fairly basic. But hey, I should mention we're being safety-minded and we're being cash-minded, because with the spare cash we're going to be generating, we will do extravagant personal things that carry no monetary benefit whatsoever. So a little bit of thrust limiting on this booster to allow us to go places. 1,347 funds to launch this mission. Let's do it. I'm excited. Oh, I should make my KSP forum post that the stream is actually online, because we want some of these awesome forumers in our stream. There we go. Had it said already. Look at that. Jebediah Kerbin, astronaut extraordinaire. Throttled really doesn't matter because everybody knows SRBs fire regardless of the throttle setting. Right. So let's look at the screen. Here we have our money. This is basically this doesn't bear any relevance on the mission. This is resources. Nice. It has an icon now. Our contracts, launch a vessel, set altitude record of 5,000. And this is, I think this is like events, but they haven't happened yet. So, here we go. Going up. Oh, and of course now we need to do science as well, because we need to do everything. Oh, and I didn't put an antenna on the ship, because I was focusing on the contracts, not the science. So, we are going to have to keep most of the datas and have Jebediah, well, another crew report, no, Jebediah, he might not want to go on an EVA at an altitude as low as less than 10 kilometers. That might be hazardous. So we're gonna go with the crew report. We have that. We'll get some science from the contract, actually, if I recall correctly, and we will also get some science from recovering our first vessel. And Albrista was completely correct. The one solid booster is now making us exceed 10 kilometers. Come to think of it, that actually makes the game fairly easy. I mean, we're going super fast already. Now, I do understand that the game has to be accessible to new players, but with the advance on the first contract, maybe the starting funds just aren't necessary. I mean, we start with 10k funds. Oh, we immediately got paid out. Nice. It doesn't matter if the astronaut actually makes it back. I suppose that wasn't stipulated in the contract. So, right, contract complete. Okay, cool. These are the notifications. Altitude record reached. Well done. We got some prestige and we got some funds. Same here. Awesome, man. We got 5 signs for that. So, nice. So now there is really nothing to do. Well, we're at 33 kilometers. Do we try and get an EVA report from Jebediah? I think so. Nice. EVA report. Keep it. Get back inside. Nice. And we need to do the collect and store data as well, so we can actually do a new crew report. Yes, now we have crew reports from lower and upper atmosphere. Al Bristow in chat noting that whilst the contracts might not stipulate that the Kerbal lives, we do lose reputation if he doesn't live. So I suppose that's fair enough. That is a reasonable assessment. Oh, we will be landing straight back at the KSC, so that will probably give us a nice amount of recovery. We're turning over in the atmosphere here, just falling. I was briefly worried about re-entry heat, although it technically didn't leave the atmosphere. But then again, I don't think 0.24 added anything like the mod that, like the deadly re-entry mod does. So we don't have to worry about that. Also, we're not going terribly fast. We should deploy our parachute though. And then once we're on the ground, we can have Jebediah go outside, perform some more science experiments, and then we can have a look at unlocking some nodes, doing some contracts, and, you know, generally being awesome. I definitely like the balance that funds and science and reputation add to the game. I mean, building a big rocket that can do something is fairly easy. I mean, sure, if you're just picking up the game, it will be a little bit harder. There will be lots of trial and error involved, but for many players, that stage has well and gone. That's not a sentence. That stage has passed. We can make rockets that go anywhere fairly easily, because the game is simplified in many ways, and that, well, that makes things easy. That's good because it keeps things playable, but designing, however, for efficiency, for cost efficiency, is a whole different game. It's a completely different game, so that's nice. Because even with this simple mission, we saw that just adding lots and lots of fuel and giving it a liquid booster is the easiest and most controllable and arguably the best rocketry, the best engineering way of doing it, but the solid booster was just a lot cheaper. And that is a consideration that has not been in the game as of yet. And now it is, and everyone has been really excited for it, and with good reason, because this is, well, basically this is the game that many people thought they were getting, or many people were excited for getting, and well, it's getting there. It's almost, well, it has been fully playable for a long time, of course. I mean, there's been many a million hours sunk into it with gleeful joy. I can say that, I think. But now it's even better, which is good. Right, let's take all the data. Take reports, keep that. Take a surface sample for a whole 9 science for, you know, going. The R&D building is right over there. Oh, it's actually that one. We needed an astronaut to collect some dirt, so they can analyze it over there. They couldn't get it themselves. They're a lazy bunch. Right. So, do we do another crew report? Yes, we do, from the KSC. This is our space center. We're home. And now let's recover it and see what happens then. Cool, so we got science, crew report, you know, this is the usual. We got 30.5 science points. We recovered, oh, we recovered some propellant. Nice. That's also, of course, propellant also is worth money. Oh, and for recovering at the KSC, we get 98% value back, so that's basically a full refund. Nice. That is good. We're gonna get rich on this. Crew available for new mission, 25 reputation. Boom. So one mission in, we've made 8,828 funds profit. Our reputation is, oh, this is like an old school analog gauge that scrolls past. We're in the green or something, and we've got some science. So let us do this mission driven. We will take some contracts and then we'll see about what parts to purchase. Right, so we get an R&D contract. Test the Mark 15 parachute in flight over Kerbin. Perform the test. Activate the part through the staging sequence when all test conditions are met. Flying at Kerbin between 15.5 kilometers and 22.8 kilometers with a speed between 330 and 830 meters per second. We can do that. What do we get for it? We don't get a lot for it. But we get some prestige for it. I mean, can we combine this with the booster? The booster here needs to be activated between 19.2 thousand and at a very slow speed. Yes, we can probably do this, but the money is very low again. We would need to make a dedicated mission. Let's see, is this altitude compatible? Not really. I mean, yes they are. I mean, I could trigger the booster at 19.2 kilometers whilst going very slow, and then open the parachute before 22.8 kilometers. Oh, that just means that the booster has to be really light. It shouldn't be too full. And we should test the decoupler. I mean, let's try this. Let's try this triple R&D thing. And we will not be doing any of these, but we will be doing the 3 R&D things. Boom. It will be a challenge. We will need to launch, use the decoupler to use it and test it, then trigger a booster in the test parameters, and then trigger the parachute also in the test parameters. So let's actually go to the R&D station and see if we can actually have some decouplers and boosters. So we will research this node and we will... Oh, did we not actually have to pay the research cost to get these parts then? Because it tells us here about... Oh, this is the... Is this just the cost of the thing if you want to buy it? It talks about entry purchases here, but that just happened on its own. Well, we got decouplers here. That's basically all we need. Yeah, we will keep it at that, and have a look. We need so the parachute is last, obviously. The booster is second. The decoupler has to fire before 14.2 kilometers. So if we go fast enough at 14.2 to coast up to 19.2, then we'll trigger the small booster. Yeah, we'll try that. I give that a fair chance of success. Oh, and in chat it's noted that for the test missions they give you experimental parts to use while you have the contract, so you don't have to unlock the tag. Well, we want to unlock it anyway, but that's good to know. Right. This is still the first contract ship? No, we need a new ship. Of course, a parachute. Let's also give it a communitron, why not? Right. This will be a simple decouplerized entry vehicle. We will have this is the test booster. This will have a very low amount of fuel because it doesn't actually need to propel us anywhere. In fact, if it does, we'll be screwed. We'll also limit the thrust so that things will happen more slowly and that we will have some time to react to things. Cool. And now I could go for the cheap option and slap boosters on here, or I could go for the more expensive liquid fuel thing, R&D under. Or I could go for the, what I'm considering is like, I need to get this up to, what was it, 19.2 kilometers, but decouple it before 14. I could use boosters to do that, but that would make it slightly less predictable, but cheaper. Or I could use liquid engines to do so, which would make it slightly more controllable, but more expensive. Now our last booster, the singular booster, got us all the way to, I think, about 30 kilometers. So let's go with a booster, and let's not even fill it completely. Let's go with a little bit more thrust than last time, because we need to be going at that high speed. And let's fill it at about 75% as well. Because that was, I mean, we're not carrying that much extra weight. This one is really light. We're carrying some decouplers and we need to go a lot lower. So I think we stand a decent chance of doing things correctly for all the contracts with this setup. We have the booster, the decoupler, the second booster, the second decoupler, and the parachute. Yeah, should work out fine. Okay, let's do it. Let's go to the launch pad. Right, let's open up the contract window just to remind ourselves. We will be testing the decoupler first before 14.2 kilometers of altitude. And speed between 440 and 840. That's important. Right, let's launch. Do we have a crew report from the launch pad? Boom, let's transmit that first. I mean, never forget the science. I mean, we can get that from here as well. Some EVA reports, nice. Never forget, we are here for scientific purposes as well. Right, boosting. And hopefully this will run out before we're actually at 14 kilometers. And before we're at 840 meters per second. That should, I think that will work out due to the, you know, the aerodynamic drag. And then hopefully we'll coast up to the second window of 19 kilometers. Ooh, important things. Maybe this booster actually did need to be filled. 440 is actually, we're actually not gonna make that. Oh shit. Oh well. So that's the decoupler test screwed. The booster test will also be screwed, and as will the parachute test. So that was all useless. Okay, I mean we can fire this, but it will not do a lot because it's a tiny booster. All right. That's a failure. That's a failure. So I'm thinking we will just uprate the first booster to full effectiveness and then see how we go with this thing, because this is a fine test booster. That's there's no complaints there, none whatsoever. So now we just have to make sure that we actually land. Wait, can we still do the parachute? No, we're not going fast enough. And we're also not going to make 15 kilometers. Damn, that's a pity. Alright, but we got some data. We got some data nonetheless. Whoa! 4 times time acceleration, shooting the booster away, because why not? And overtaking it there. I'm liking this addition to the game. I mean, we're not shooting for Mars or Venus or anything. No, we're trying to fit our space program within a budgetary and market constraints. Is that fair to call it that? I mean, they're contracts. We need to fulfill our clients' expectations. The deadlines, though, I don't feel mean so much yet, because there's still no need to actually hurry with the contract. I mean, yeah, they have deadlines, so yeah, you do need to hurry, but a launch takes 5 minutes. A full cycle of design, construction, and launch takes 5 minutes. So you can pretty much keep trying as long as you have the funds to do so. So, big failure, but we got science, and we got money back for the capsule. So, yeah, that's a win. That's a win in my book. We got some Communitron stuff back. We got nice things, and we got some reputation. Right, so we'll try again with the same idea, but this time a full booster. Would that make the difference? I think so. And if not, we shall use a liquid booster for that fine-tuned control, that nice delivery stage. That might invalidate, that might make the contracts to be less economically reasonable, because the rewards were not that big, remember? But it might pay off in the end just to have done the contracts. Or what I could do is throttle this thing back a little bit, because it does take off like a rocket, where we don't really need it to. We need it to go a little bit slower. Or I might just add another stage of boosters. I mean, they are cheap after all. So what do we have here? No, we are not going to make it. I mean, it wants us to decouple. Oh, no. Shit. The decoupler we could do fairly easily. It's just that we couldn't do the... It's just that we couldn't do the booster, because that needs the 19.2 kilometers. But the decoupler will fire from 4,700 meters. Oh, nice. That means all we need to do here to fix everything is, I mean, let's ditch these. I mean, yeah, nothing is gonna happen. Oh shit, look out. All we need to do is just add another booster stage, one that we can decouple early on, and then we should be golden. So hopefully we won't run out of funds before that happens, but let's just try that. Yeah, and fire the parachute, please. Because of course we cannot kill Jebediah, because that would crush our reputation. Bam, that's the discarded boosters crashing down there. Oh shit. So we can definitely do the OMB one. The decoupler. I mean, we had it in the bag. So I think we still have funds to do this. We're doing it on the cheap, so it should work out. Yeah, we spent about 2 grand, and that's maybe not the best thing to do, but this is working out. This is working out. Look at this. Serial booster staging. What more do you want? I think this is the ticket. I also think that the second booster now is massively overpowered. So we shall reduce that. We got our funds back for 100%. Yeah, so you can just, if you go to the launch pad and decide no, this is not good, you will get all your funds back, which I think is fair enough. We'll have this at something like this. Half capacity. Half capacity and 75 thrust. And this one at full. Yeah. I think that's a decent way to do it. Is this just a more convoluted way of launching one booster? Yes, it is. Basically, we're having a big throttled engine at preset intervals. So, here we go. Firing the first booster, opening the contracts window. First thing we have to do is do the decoupler over 4,700 meters, but below 14,000 meters at 440 meters per second of speed. So, What we're counting now is the speed. Altitude will get there, no doubt. And this first booster won't get us there. Won't get us to the speed. So fire the second one. And this one should burn out before we get 14,000 kilometers. And we can of course influence that a little bit by steering if we have to. I mean, we want the speed, but we don't really want the altitude so much. So we have the speed right here. So now we need to separate the booster, and we shouldn't overshoot 840. So boom, there we have it. Booster sep. Now we need to test the booster at an altitude over 19,200, which is something we're going to make. Like now, okay, fire the booster. Boom. Got that contract, and now we need to test the parachute. Shoot at 330, but not 22.8. So now we need to do the parachute. Yes, we have the parachute, but our rocket is in shambles. The booster is still firing, but the parachute deployed before the criteria were exceeded. Yes, there was no need to do it that quickly. But now we have all three of the contracts in one go. Nice. That was some frantic sciencing, but there we go. There we have it. We do a crew report. No, we have all the science from this area already. Otherwise, this mission was extremely uninteresting, but we did do 3 contracts. Nice. We started out with 18,800 something before accepting these 3 contracts. And we shall... How much do we have now? We can just go and see that. Alright, it cost us 200 to do this. But we got lots of reputation, and we got some science, and... we will recoup some money upon landing this capsule, hopefully. So that will net us a very, very small profit. After a dedicated science R&D mission. And then I think we should go back to the milestoning, where we look at going to mountainous peaks, where we go to look at exiting the atmosphere, doing orbit, and those kind of good stuff for an affordable price. Because the money isn't as free-flowing as I thought it would be, actually. Because these contracts, they were, well, not hard in the achievements that they demand, but... are we just going to crash into the mountain here? No. They were not hard in the achievements that they demand, but they were hard in the finesse required in executing them. And doing just one, would only barely be profitable. So this is actually nice. And this is extremely precarious. We will transmit some crew reports from this weird situation. We're landing on a mountaintop. I mean, I hope this thing will... Ooh, that's nice. It is actually not falling down the mountain, because that could have killed Jebediah quite handily. As it is, he's going to climb outside for those EVA points, and now we'll recover the vessel. Let's see how much money we get back from this now. We got some science, we got some parts, yes. And we got... oh, how much part we get? Oh, nice, it goes in distance. This is 50.6 kilometers from the KSC, 95.6% value. So that does drop off. That's nice. That's pretty cool. Cool reputation for Jebediah. And yeah, sweet. That's good. We're 22 minutes into the program, 4 launches in. These rocket assemblers are amazing. They're doing a really, really good job. Right, let's have a look at mission control. Oh, these contracts, they just keep coming. Which is what's supposed to happen, I suppose. Right, we need to test the LV T-45 liquid fuel engine in flight over Kerbin. And test the radial mount parachute. Yeah, we'll leave these for a second. I mean, all these things, we can just make a dedicated test vessel that will test all these things. Yeah, I think that's fun. We'll just have a big stack that drops off these tests and does it. Oh, they want the engine, the LV909 to be the LV909 to be tested in the water. That's pretty good. Also the booster in the water. Nice. We're going to go for these milestone contracts first though. Let's do it. Escape the atmosphere. Beyond the edge of the atmosphere, it's 70,000 meters. I think maybe the game, I mean, come on, you're gonna find it on the internet everywhere, but maybe the game should have the goal of researching where the atmosphere ends. I mean, that would be fun, right? We just got the mission, escape the atmosphere. We don't know how high it goes. I think that would be fun. Like, right, orbit. Higher perhaps than 70,000. I mean, we can do an orbital mission. I mean, these three missions go hand in hand, really. And then we'll be fucking rich, I think. And there's no deadline here, so the failure, I don't think it's possible to get the failure. Right, so let's accept all these contracts. And then we can make an extravagant R&D test bed thing. So now we just need to build an orbital rocket, basically. We shall call it the Orbiter. Har. And we shall, before doing so, get some science to include on the Orbiter. Because we are scientists and need science. Science? A big booster? Seems like a good idea. Or some fins? A radial decoupler definitely seems like a good idea. We want that. Radial parachutes, small engines. Small engine seems like a good idea for an orbiter. And we now have 18 science points remaining. I'm a bit disappointed you don't have to buy these. I mean, we need some more money sinks. Come on, we're at 50,000 already. No, let's just get the... Oh no, we're all scienced out. There's nothing we can get at this point. Right, let's build ourselves an orbiter. It has been forgotten. After all, I had only figured out the name. Right, capsule in. Parachute. Communotron. And let's have ourselves small engine. After all, these things are a lot more expensive, so maybe we do need more cash as opposed to just slapping more solid boost. We'll have a fairly simple liquid stage here. I think this is probably already orbit capable, but let's add some boosters just to be sure. Hey, didn't we unlock some big boosters? Oh no, we didn't. Well, then we'll add some small boosters. I mean, they are cheap. Nose cones, are they are not cheap at all. So no, we're not doing the nose cones. The wings are not cheap either, but I want some wings. Damn, no, I don't want the wings, they're too expensive. Yeah, I think this is our orbiter. Boosters with the engines, detach the boosters, second engine, parachute. Yeah, seems fair enough. Boom. So we need 56 kilometers as a failure state, 70 plus kilometers as a second failure state, and orbit for success. So let's go ahead and do it. Our boosters are carrying us all the way up without any problems whatsoever, so throttling the liquid engine way down. It's not even the steering kind, so I can just turn it off altogether. Or did I forget? Oh, we can't really science anything because we don't have science equipment on board. I should take more care for crew safety maybe. Maybe setting up this abort switch. If something goes wrong, we need to have a mechanism for Jebediah to escape. To be honest though, there's not a whole lot that can go wrong on a rocket like this. But I'm sure every rocket engineer said something to that effect right seconds before a crash. So, I'm proceeding up for our first foray out of the atmosphere and into space. That's an interesting decision, the career of any astronaut. El Bristow in chat is noting that they didn't add a decoupler under the pod. That's completely correct. I'm hoping that this whole thing can land with the parachute and a little assist from the engine. It should be able to land, and we'll be able to recover that and don't need the extra decoupler. If worst comes to worst, it will splash down or land completely empty, and that way it's a crumple zone and not a lander. But it will probably be fine. I think it will perform great as a lander. So pitching over here, we need about 1 kilometer per second more delta V to get into orbit, but the altitude records are all but assured. That's nice. We have a crew report from flying over the, this is upper atmosphere already. Right, so we're ditching this expensive stage and we're continuing with this one now. Let's see, we're at 42 grand now. Hey, our reputation meter did something. Oh yeah, we got the contracts. Oh yeah, we got 56,000 kilometers. That 56,000 meters. We did that, and these are the datas from the others. So there we did another one. Exit the atmosphere. Cool. Reach space. And what are we doing now? Now we're getting into orbit. Yes. Sweet. Right, I'll stop thrusting for a bit until we reach apoapsis and take the time to do some science. Crew report while in space. Wonderful, and an EVA report, of course. And the horrible bit here is that these EVA reports, they are specific for the biome that you're over. And now, of course, that's not horrible in and of itself, but it does mean that you have to go out on EVA and do these science reports quite often, because you want all the science points. And Kerbin's water, we already had that, yeah. Also, of course, because we haven't returned them yet, it doesn't say on the outside of the pod whether or not you have it. Grasslands, we don't have that. So you have to kind of remember that. So we are just coasting for apoapsis. And that's about here. Just to finish that orbital insertion to make the contract people happy. And then we have to work on bringing Jebediah home, of course, with all the science he has accrued. And now it matters that we need to bring him home close to the KSC if we want maximum refunds. Now these missions have been so profitable that it doesn't matter so much, but you know, it's still nice to go and try that. So we got orbit, another 60 grand, 30 science and lots of reputation. I think we're set for life with this. 163,000 funds and more science. So we'll get to build a nice extravagant research vessel soon. Kerbin's water, we had that already. Let's time warp out of the night. Yeah, so who wants night? We can try another nightly EVA. Jebediah has lights on his suit. Port. Grasslands, also something we had already. Oh, on board the ship. I know I'm probably passing over many interesting biomes, but I just can't stand the night. Maybe we can get some mountain or highland stuff here. Also, we're really not strapped for science, I don't think, because the contracts are just handing them out Highlands. Keep the data. Nice one there. We'll try the deserts, and then we'll start our deceleration burn. So, oh, no, I did the time warp in the wrong direction. Oops. So we want to land close to the KSC. Now, I am not going to spend the time and effort to fine-tune a trajectory like that, but I will just start braking now, because I feel that's approximately the right moment for a landing near the KSC. Right, retrograde direction confirmed. Let's boost it. Now we're going to take a look at the map view. Our apoapsis is now here. We will want our periapsis, or our apparent landing point, to be somewhat near the KSC. Of course, the planet will rotate and we will encounter atmospheric resistance, but something like this should probably do it. Let's go ahead. We have a little bit less. Let's say we have about a third of a tank remaining for a soft landing. I think that should be possible. Can we maybe get another EVA report of Kerbin's grasslands? Deserts? No, I meant shores. Deserts we already have. Right, here we are, approaching. Can we do... Oh no, we can't really get an EVA report from space anymore because, well, we're not in space anymore. But we might be able to get an EVA report from the upper atmosphere, which we also already had. Right. So here we are coming in for an aggressive entry. Because look, we're basically just plummeting straight down, more or less at the KSC. Which is good for our recovery, but is bad for cinematic purposes, because, you know, it's nighttime again, or evening at least. Oh, we're landing frighteningly close to our last landing site in the mountains here. About 50 kilometers from the KSC. If it were a day, we should be able to see it somewhere over there. We're decelerating at a fairly strong 10-ish Gs. But that doesn't matter because Jebediah doesn't mind that so much. I mean, let's pop the parachute. 500 meters per second. Is it a supersonic parachute? That's the question. We'll find out. That's the answer. Here we go. Parachute out. And now we just wait until we get close to the land, blip the engine to touch down the whole thing, and, well, then basically just cart it home to the KSC. We're even closer than our previous science hub. Look, there it is in the distance. A nice nice landing close to home. And, well, that will give us money, but we don't need the money. We have 163,000 funds. I wonder where the next contracts will send us. Hopefully somewhere far. Or we might just go to the moon for some personal glee. We can afford that easily. Alright then, parachute deployed. Parachute deployed. 10 meters per second. It is a bit of a problem that I can't see the ground. Should R&D some lights. That would help. I know that the parachutes deploy 500 meters above the ground. We're probably halfway there now. Doesn't help that it's quite sunny in my room here, in my office, my study, I don't know the proper word. The place where I play KSP has sun in it! Fortunately, we can see the backwash from the rocket. Right, that landed pretty much intact. Crazy. Nice. Okay, crew report from here. No, we don't override that. I don't care about these science pittances. Recover it. Vessel from orbit. Cash back from a close recovery. And science from all the reports. So, yeah, we've got 96.2% recovery. Great. And now we've got 166 grand, which is crazy. Okay, cool. Let's see what we have to do now. Explore the moon. Yes, we will. Transmit or... Let's see. Achieve orbit around the moon. Oh, so we can't just go straight there. But these are... I wonder if these are separate objectives? Or if they all need to be... No, they don't all need to be done. These are separate. So we transmit or recover, so we need to bring home some science. I mean, this is what we're going to do anyway. Orbit around the moon, land on the moon, and get science from the surface. Sure, let's do that. And let's see what we can fit into that contract as well. In flight over Kerbin, high altitude. No, if we're going to come back from the moon, we will be going faster than this at this altitude. So this can't be done. Separatron 1 in flight. Now, this would need to be a dedicated mission. Before 11,000 kilometers, it's not guaranteed at all that we're going at 500 meters per second. The launch stability enhancer. It's the launch clamp. Yeah, we can do that. Sure, we'll use that. Test the radial decoupler landed at Kerbin. Yeah, sure, we'll build that into the rocket. Do that. It's a very cheap contract. TT-70 radial decoupler. Yeah, we'll try that as well. Rescue Gilfin Kerbin from Kerbin? What? Rescue Gilfin Kerbin, who is stuck in orbit around Kerbin. Return him safely to Kerbin. We need to save him. But we can't yet. Because we can't send up capsules with no one in it. We need unmanned stuff to do that. And these splashdown things are their own mission. Right. Let's go to the science building to research stuff to go to the moon. Big boosters, yes, we want that. We also want the stability enhancers and these decouplers to test them. Well, I know we get experimental versions, but actually we might want to abuse those experimental versions. This is not really needed. This is needed for the rescue mission, but not for the moon mission. Science is very nice. Science and batteries are very nice for the moon mission. We want that for sure. And that means we can get one more node out of these. Let's get the bigger tanks just for ease of use. Boom. All the science spent. Let us design a lunar rocket. We'll start with, of course, the pod. Oh, we will start with getting a new ship going. Start with the pod. Get a parachute. And a small engine. This should do for a... Should it do for a lunar return vehicle? I think so. We don't have landing struts. Alright. Oh yeah, we do have landing struts. 3 of them should suffice. Do we have RCS systems yet? We don't have RCS systems yet. Let's see, this will work for a lander as long as we do most of the lunar insertion, deceleration burn and stuff. And most of the landing burn with the previous stage. Then it will be easily doable. Okay, we're not going to put science equipment on the moon too much. We'll just go for an equipment sample. Actually, the goo containment unit is really light, so we'll bring that along. Will we? Can we? Can we get away with that? We can probably get away with that. No, we're going to keep things simple for this first mission. Right, stack decoupler. And this will be our... Let's see. This will be our pretty much everything stage. We don't have fuel lines yet, do we? No. Fuel lines are really rather handy in a mission like this. But no matter. We will just have this one be slightly larger. I mean, this stage can do most of our things. This one is supposed to get us all the way into orbit, to the moon, around the moon, and almost down to the moon. And that means it is going to require some help. So let's first... This one needs to be tested on the ground, okay. Experimental, okay. This one does not need to be tested on the ground. We'll have 3 outer rockets. This is going to be an expensive rocket. Sort of. 3 outer rockets. Strutted to the top. Oh, we don't have struts yet. That's a problem all of itself. Do we have separatrons? We do have separatrons. We want to use them just to make sure that the separation of these things goes off without a hitch. Okay, so this is our main booster. Now we need to add some solid boosters, just because we can. These big ones, they will serve for getting off the pad. That means that these separatrons need to go up a little bit higher, so as not to interfere with that. I wonder how well this will go. And now we need to attach our launch clamps, which we will attach to the decouplers so that they may be tested simultaneously. Give them 3 of them. We will start off with these solid boosters, then we will continue with these liquid engines, then we will continue with... Wait, of course we shouldn't forget to decouple the bigger boosters. Find this thing. That's over here. No, those should go over here. Then we decouple the rest with all these separatrons, fire the center stage, and then we move on to that. Alright. Call it the Moon Boy. And we will give it some science. We will give it some science in this bit. I mean, let's give it 4. Because the astronaut Jebediah will have to grab the sciences. Wait, I wanted to make that into 4. This is before the moon landing, so this is Kerbin Space, Moon High, Moon Low. Yeah, so it's Kerbin Space, High, Space, Low, and Moon Space, High, Space, Low, and the Materials Bay just Space, Moon Low. Yeah. And let us set up an abort stage, just in case things go horribly wrong. There's not a lot we can do if that happens. We can trigger the parachute, deploy, we can fire the engine, and we can decouple that. Yeah, so if we abort, it's basically just the upper stage firing. Yeah. Alright then. Let's see if we can get to the moon. And I have absolutely no idea what this thing cost, because, oh shit, look at that wobble. How are we doing on money? It costs only about 16 grand. That seems low. Right, so we can test these things. That will just happen as soon as we... Oh, we didn't bring the right decoupler for the test. Alright, well, we'll have to do that later. Achieve orbit around the moon. Right. Alright, boys and girls, here we go. I'm afraid. I have my finger on the abort switch for Jebediah's sake. Spotting a problem. If I engage it like this, it will just fall. So let's put the first stage in with these. Right, let's go. Ooh, that's not going up fast at all. Might have to rejigger these stages to actually fire in tandem. There we go. Going up a little bit. Yes, there we go. I am suddenly incredibly wary of actually getting into orbit because things are going way slower than I anticipated. These boosters, in my mind, they were hugely powerful, but they're maybe not so much. Alright, everything is... The rocket is contorted into very, very weird shapes. But we are going to prepare to ditch our boosters. Here they go. Bye-bye boosters. And our other engines are spectacularly failing to lift the rocket. Okay, let's fire the other engine in tandem with that. That will present its own problems. This might not have been big enough for a moon thing. Or it might have just been designed wrong. Do we repurpose the mission as a simple science gathering thing so that we may get fuel lines? I think so. I think so. So this is now a science mission. Observe the mystery goo. Keep that. We will have to turn around. We will need to visit space to collect the data. Then we shall land, hopefully near the KSC, where we will then recover our science, our findings, research fuel lines, and make a nice asparagus booster thing to the moon. Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. Are we in the upper atmosphere yet? Come on, Jebediah, have a look outside the window. Flying over Kerbin's water, sure. Transmit that home. No problem at all. Is this upper atmosphere yet? Yeah, keep the data there. Wonderful. And we shall retrieve the other goo from space, the other goo from land, and the material stuff from space as well, obviously. We have an apoapsis in space already. That we do. There's no need to go any higher than strictly necessary. I mean, we do have, of course, a lot of Delta V still in this rocket, but I'm not convinced it's going to be enough to see us all the way to the moon. Not take any chances with that. Right. I think if we only have fuel lines, it will go so much better, because then these four can just fire at once. We'll have a nicely staged system going on. I mean, let's ditch these. Wow, that's a violent staging maneuver. And then we should have enough to do our planned and intended mission. Be in space yet? 10 science in space near Kerbin. That's not a lot of science, come on. Imperial's Bay here. 25 science. That means that Jebediah now has to go on EVA. Just to get these results back into the capsule, because of course if he doesn't... Oh, there's a flaw in my plan. I wanted to use one of the goo canisters whilst landed, and Well, that's obviously a bad idea. Because this won't be there when we land. So, that's all of them. And then we'll just transmit one goo sample. You know, you get a little bit of extra value by doing that. Right, oh, not enough electric charge. Let's fire the engine for a bit then and generate some charge. Alright. Separate this here. Now all we have to do is basically go back down. We can test our lander. Of course we don't need to thrust in this direction. I'm just lightening the lander a bit. Yeah, that sounds like a good reason to do stuff. Look, there is a different stage we left behind. Here's another bit of debris. This is nice. Thrusting down, and once again we should be landing fairly close to the KSC. Alright, let's just use time warp to speed this up a trifle. Again with the mountains. It clearly is Jebediah's favorite spot. Is that the KSC? No, that's just debris. I mean, are getting some good deceleration here. Deploy the landing legs. Fortunately, this shock heating doesn't matter in the slightest. Slowing down right quick, and of course let's deploy the parachute. Not quite a lunar mission, not quite. But we will get some money back, and we will have done some science, and that means we can get fuel lines, which I think will get this mission off the ground properly. We can also test the other contract, the decouplers that we forgot before. Right, we need to of course fire the engine a bit because this landing is too strong, well too hard. 6 meters per second, 5 meters per second. Oh, that's a pity. Some stuff did explode. Oh well. We're rich, we don't mind. We don't mind. We got science though, 89 science points. We got only 1500 funds back, that's not so much. And Jebediah is getting a killer reputation. Boom, now not to the VAB, we are going to the research building to get fuel lines. Because of course we are. Fuel systems, oh no, are you kidding me? 90 science lacking? Okay, we're going to get, we need 0.8 science more. So we're going to get some science from the pad, obviously. We will call that the pad psi. Again, the scientists really would like some scrapings of launch pad dirt, but are too lazy to actually go out and get it. Jebediah is still our only astronaut. Cover that vessel. Bada bing, bada boom, we have the science. So, fuel systems, please. There we go. Into the VIB, let's upgrade our moon boy. Oh, it contains locked or invalid parts now because we don't have the experimental things anymore. That's nice. So we will just bring these decouplers to test. Being sure, why the hell not? And we're going to fuel duct these things together. Can make that fit. Yay! Or nay. That didn't work out so well. It actually fuel ducted itself to itself. That's not the idea. Maybe we can do it like this? No. There's just not so much space here. Fuel ducting. On the bottom here. That looks decent. Yes, that is fine. That is fine. Alright then. We'll test these things first, then we'll have boosters and engines at the same time. This is all still valid, as is the parachute. Wonderful. So, I'm gonna go have a brief break, grab some coffee, have a look at if my dog is still alive, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes, where we shall launch the Moon Boy to the moon. So, see you in about 10 minutes.